Welcome to the More Than Mostly Comedy podcast.
We need like a drum roll then and like a jingle and stuff.
I know.
And
this is
then we come running
like
down the stairs. We come running down through the audience, waving.
Those were the days when you had an audience you could run through.
Yeah, we did that so many times. Times. Mostly running away from audiences, actually, I think is the general thing. Yeah. But yeah, welcome to the More Than Mostly Comedy podcast. Thank you for joining us again, hopefully, if you've listened to other ones.
Thank you very much for coming and listening with your ears. I'm Glyn Doggett, by the way.
I'm David Ephgrave. Together we make Doggett and Ephgrave, and we host the comedy club Mostly Comedy and in Hertfordshire, and as a result, this podcast as well. And today's episode features Josh Widdicombe, which is exciting.
It does indeed, yeah. And it was really nice to catch up with him because we had Josh way back, and we'll talk loads about this, but way back when we started Mostly Comedy back in 2000. We started in 2008, but 2009-ish was when Josh came and played the club quite early on, wasn't it? In his career as well, actually, as well as ours with Mostly. Yeah,
definitely. And then obviously in the last, how many years that is, I can't do the maths, 12 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Is that right? He's got sort of kind of massive, while still being small, still being diminutive. You know, he's a small guy, but he's massive, small and massive as well.
He is.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Massive. Yeah.
But yeah, a lovely chat that we just had with him, and we will let you listen to it. But actually, before we start, a couple of things. One, it may sound occasionally a little bit robotic because that's the nature of working on 3 different internet connections. Yes. So if that's the case, it's probably at our end, not yours. And secondly, we mentioned just before our chat the interview we did with Mark Morris, lead singer of the Blue Tones, when we were sort of talking to the audience about people we've had recently. So that explains why we start talking about the Blue Tones in a bit. So we've given you the disclaimers. This is the interview with Josh. Without further ado, Josh, if you're there and can hear us, come join us like some sort of medium.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you? You all right?
I'm very good, yeah. I was really impressed by the range of people you've had on before.
Yeah,
it's quite a mix, isn't it?
Paul Daniels to Bobby Davro to
it's quite broad, isn't it? Not very often they're in the same list, is it, really?
Exactly.
It kind of sums up Mostly Comedy over the years. It's kind of our Mostly Comedy random selection of people from it. It's just been, huge.
I think that's good. I think you're not going to get the same interview with those people, are you?
That's it, exactly. No.
No.
I was a big fan of the Blue Tones. I saw them in Cardiff in about 2001, something like that, right. 2000.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved them. They were a brilliant band. They're a hugely kind of written off band.
Yeah.
I mean, what a way to start an interview by defending the Blue Tones. But they were kind of thrown in with a lot of Britpop bands, but I think they were much better than a lot of the kind of second tier Britpop bands that maybe people would throw them in with. And they did Peel sessions, and those first few albums are great.
And also, it's like because I think they were the number 1 album the week after Morning Glory, so they sort of came in right at that point, which obviously led to a certain thing. But yeah, like you say, I think they are a bit sort of maligned, really, and forgotten because they are a better band. And he's lovely. Mark Morris is really nice bloke.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He came to Mostly Comedy and did a set just on his own as one of the nights, and actually it was sort of it was funny as well, wasn't he? So he had that kind of balance of sort of being jokey and
I think here's a bit of trivia. I don't know if you asked him about, but I think he's in Little Britain.
I think he is. I think that's right. Yeah. I seem to remember because he's mates with David Williams, isn't he?
Is that right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's done the music for his audiobooks or something. So
he did say that. Yeah, he's done that. Yeah, and Matt Berry he's worked quite a lot with as well. He's done a lot of stuff with Matt Berry.
So my cat's just walked in. Can you hear that meowing?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is like those news reports where like the child will walk in the back. This is a much more kind of low key version of that.
That's what I was fearing. It's why I've moved to my parents' house for this interview, because I was fearing that my kids would do exactly that news report and I'd be like shuffling them out in the background. So I was like, right, I just can't be in my house. It'd be ridiculous.
But Glyn, you can't buy that kind of publicity, mate.
True.
That's exactly what everyone's looking for.
I've got like the world's biggest dog, so what I should have done is just like cover myself in meat juice beforehand and then just let him in. Make a fortune.
That'd be great.
Well, we normally sort of do a full start, but we might as well just start now because we've kind of already started.
We started, haven't we?
I'm sorry.
No,
I just went off on one about the Blue Tones.
No problem at all. How have you been finding this whole lockdown thing? I mean, obviously you've been working from home as well, which is a weird thing.
Yeah, I find it. You can't complain in that sense of there's people who've had a much worse time than me. I've spent a lot of time I mean, it's weird. It's probably, I don't really look at my diary anymore in the same way, in the same way that I used to look at my diary.
Yeah.
But on the odd occasion I do, it'll still have like Aberdeen written. I'm like, oh, that's where I should have been tonight. It's kind of weird like that, in that you're kind of looking at the
what you could have won.
You're looking at your kind of parallel lives, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I was going to be doing Edinburgh this year, and I had like one day just a notification, Brighton preview, and you're like, oh, it's like I'd completely disregarded everything about it by now. So it's like a surprise, isn't it? You go, because like you say, it's like an alternate reality. It's weird. It's very strange.
I think I'm fine in the sense that I've just had my life put on hold, if you know what I mean. And so that tour will become like, that can happen at any time. I did Stockport, and then I didn't do Dudley, and it stopped there. And now I will do Dudley the next time I am able to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you had actually started a tour at that point.
I was So I toured did the autumn leg, which was like 35 dates, and then I started. I must have done like 7 or 8 dates of the spring leg, like starting at the end of January. Yeah. And I did Stockport, which was a really nice kind of old cinema. And I remember,
Is it the Plaza?
Yeah.
It's lovely, but nice.
Lovely, really nice. And it's kind of the kind of place where you imagine tour shows will be, and then you go to a corn exchange. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, we did that, and I remember, it felt like people would cough in the audience. You'd make a bit of a joke about it, because it still felt like it wasn't real.
A real thing,
that was the end of the tour. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's kind of, but it's fine. I can't complain. We did the last leg for my loft, which was quite fun. And
is that where you were, in your loft?
So I was in my loft. Alex was in some room in his house,
someone else's loft,
Huddersfield, and Adam was in his garage in Melbourne. And
that's insane. That's insane that he was. I only caught one episode of it, but I was like, he's in another country, like another part, at a different time zone, doing this thing.
He was like getting up at 3 because it was like 7 a.m. his time.
Yeah,
and so he was.
So weird.
When we were doing, we do a kind of camera run through, kind of 2 hours before, just to kind of show all the stills in the video. Go through it, like block it out. And he was having to whisper because he was in his garage. He didn't want to like be loud in the street. He had to have his garage door open for COVID reasons, to have the cameraman in there or whatever. It was kind of this real experience.
Yeah.
But what the weirdest thing was, like, you do the last leg, and normally, you've got your whole day builds up to this point, which it still did, and then you do it, and then you're like, whoa, right, I need a drink. And everyone goes to the green room and you have a drink, but you finish and it'd be 2 minutes past 11. You'd be like, I'll just go downstairs then and like just sit and watch TV on my own, shall I? It was kind of this weird kind of, there was no, you're doing this thing with these people all day, but then they're actually 250 miles away. So the moment the show ends, it's like, see you then. Bye.
Yeah, they go. Yeah, there's no finish to it, is there? I suppose every episode. Yeah, anticlimax.
It's very bizarre when you're normally surrounded by people, and then you're just literally in your house. It's such a weird, completely different energy thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It was, but it was, I didn't have to commute. But I've realised how much I enjoy my commute. Do you know what I mean? Because because I've got a kid, I've realised that my commute is one of the few times when I'm not parenting or working.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like, I reckon I've read 2 books in 3 months, because all of the time when I'd ever get to read a book has just been removed from my life.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It is literally there's been no time. It's 24-hour childcare, isn't it? From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, and then you got to fit some other stuff in that somehow. That's tough. It's really tough.
I mean, why do you think I'm here, guys? This is my break.
I'm doing another interview. It's going to be 20 hours.
None of this is actually being recorded. We just do this as an excuse to escape.
Yeah, guy. If you could do it for 4 or 5 hours, that'd be ideal.
We'll just keep the room open, and you can just say you're on it. That'd be fine. I said the biggest thing that I missed, the link, the crossover into this lockdown. I was supposed to be seeing William Shatner. Really disappointed. It was like a showing of The Wrath of Khan with William Shatner there, and it was like the day before really lockdown began, and it was a situation they still ran the gig, and you're like, it was at Hammersmith Apollo, and I was like, do I go? This is my one chance to see William Shatner in life.
And did they do the gig?
Yeah, so which was kind of annoying, really, because you're like, well, you're putting us in a position where obviously they just didn't want to cancel it, but yeah, so it went ahead, and I chose not to go, and I'm still here.
Interesting as I was talking to my agent about it, and like the week before, and like people who were doing gigs, and she was saying, and I was like, so you getting like bad numbers for tour shows and stuff? And she said, so what I didn't realize, she said, normally with a tour show that's sold out, the attendance is around 91%. So you lose 10% of tickets sold just any day, just through people who just can't make it. And she said, actually, in the week leading up to it, it had dropped like a few percent lower than that, but nothing more. Really? It wasn't like So you're one of the few that took this seriously. We should
listen to me, because but whereas weirdly, like with Mostly Comedy, I think, well, basically since the lockdown has begun, we haven't sold any tickets for like the shows that were on sale or the shows that are on in like the autumn. It's literally just stopped. So it'd be interesting to see, because I guess everyone's just waiting to see. I don't know. It's
difficult because I've got the tour that's kind of just keeps getting moved and moved and moved and moved.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't buy a ticket to anything now.
No.
Do you know, why would I got a text yesterday or an email or whatever saying my Elton John at the O2 ticket has been moved back a year. And I was like, I mean, I never in my mind thought that was going ahead anyway.
It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, come on, Elton, mate.
Yeah. It's supposed to be, isn't he retiring from live gigs as well? So I presume.
Well, yeah, he's obviously retiring a year later than he planned.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Didn't you do did I see you did a last leg where you were in the studio? Was that kind of towards the beginning, and you had no audience?
That was Friday before the lockdown on the Monday, maybe?
And that must have been more surreal than just doing it at home in a sense, because you're suddenly doing something you normally do, but without I'm
telling you, mate, right? Audiences are overrated. It was so good. I loved it, right? Because
relaxing.
Because you're on with. So we had Tom Allen and Lorraine Kelly, who are both people who laugh, and they're kind of generous. And you've got Adam and Alex who are generous, right? So you're like, all of those jokes that I'm normally worried how they're going to go down with the audience, I don't need to worry about that. There's no studio. I can't have a bad gig.
You are.
I can't have a good gig. But it's like you don't know how it's going. So that the freedom. So in the end, you make references like to things that, like when we were doing the ones where I was sat in my loft, there was a picture of something to do with COVID or whatever. And I said, and I was like, oh, that guy looks like Tom Stade. Now, I would never have said that in a room of 300 people. That guy looks like Tom Stade. But I knew Adam would know. I said, I'm like, that's half my audience. Adam would laugh at that. And you kind of almost like the audaciousness of like saying stuff you would never normally gamble on saying with an audience.
No one's enjoying it. No one's enjoying watching it, but you're happy. It's like
exactly, but it's never going to come back to me. I'm not reading my tweets. I can make as many jokes as I want that are really niche.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so bizarre. I actually linked to the last day because we're having people sending questions in. Pete Haynes said that he loves it for one. He said, "Did you ever think it would be such a big thing?" And obviously, because it sort of happened by accident in a way.
I think you'd be clinically insane to have predicted how it would have ended up. Like, because it was meant to be on E4. It was meant to be a late night kind of wrap up show, and I kind of just did it for like 10 days work and the free tickets, really. Like there was nothing that it was ever, but I think that's the reason why it worked, because there was no pressure on it. There was no feeling that this had to be a hit from the off. There was no, so it was able to find its audience. I think audiences like to think they found something rather than be told what to like. Like there's been shows since the last leg on channels which have been big launches that have kind of not got the numbers straight away, not got the audiences straight away. And that's not their fault, because obviously they need to find what they are, but there's so much pressure on them to succeed from the off because there's been so much money invested in them. And also I think audiences instantly, when they're told this is the big new thing, almost go, I'll decide whether I like. So I think that we're really lucky in that sense that we could find our audience, and you know, so that's luck. In that sense, there's lots of luck. We didn't even know each other.
I was going to say that. Did you know?
There's lots of things where it's just like flukes. But I suppose that is what it is, really.
And I think a lot of people we've spoken to about a lot of things in these interviews, it often is the thing you didn't quite expect or anticipate that becomes the thing, that you're known
Totally.
for.
I totally think that, you're the worst judge of your own kind of work in that sense. And also you're the worst, it is the biggest thing that I've done. I'm sure it will continue to be there. And so I don't think I don't think you would ever have guessed that, but I think that's quite nice about it. And I think that, you're not, I remember when we did our first one, it didn't feel like it was a big deal at all. It wasn't a big deal at all. It was like, and then we'll do it. And we have Freddie Flintoff on, and a kind of blind judo guy who threw Freddie Flintoff.
As you do.
And that guy, since now, I don't know the exact details of this, but he was like a quite high level judo Paralympian. But I think he's since, there was some controversy and he had his benefits taken away, and there was all kinds of it wasn't as clear cut as at the time it felt.
Somebody went, whoa, at him and he moved. And it's like, no, you're not blind, are you?
Yeah, I don't know what the test was. Yeah.
But do you feel, because I suppose in a weird way for us, because when you first played mostly, and it was probably about 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
So we've sort of, obviously, in a weird way, we've watched you, like expectant parents. We watched you go from that beginning to the sort of success you've had. Has it felt rapid to you, or is it a hard thing to judge? Or
no, I don't think anything feels rapid in the sense of no, I don't. Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because there was when I started doing mostly comedy, I think it was through Acaster.
Yeah, it was.
Because he was one of your kind of real regulars, wasn't he?
He did our first ever gig or second ever gig.
He was one of the first people we had outside of people we knew, which was about 2 people. He was one of the first new people that we didn't know that came in, and did it. Yeah,
and Nick Helm had done it as well, I think. So
and Nick did it, that's right.
But Nick and James may have even known each other, that might be so it's all this kind of, there was, all kind of linked down, and I bet you had David Trent as well.
Yes, very early on,
Yeah.
And
Nish
Joel and people, all these people that I started out with, we all kind of did all these same gigs.
Yeah.
For 2.5 years, before I got an agent, and that's when I was able to make a living from it.
Yeah.
And then things did go really quickly, but I don't think you ever stop to think. There's never a moment when, and I think this is probably the same for most comedians. There's not a moment, when you see, have you seen Rocket Man?
I haven't actually yet, no.
Yeah.
I don't know why I brought up Elton John twice.
It's good, We're getting a profile.
Everything comes back to Elton John, right?
Yeah.
If you were wearing just dungarees without a shirt and stuff, I think, you're really into it.
It's mainly the blue tones and Elton John that I'm interested in talking about, actually. Guys,
Nothing else. Yeah, we got an email through first. Josh will only speak about bands from '97 and Elton. That's it.
Yeah.
So we had in Rocket Man. There's this scene in a Los Angeles gig that he does, and it's this kind of classic turning point scene where he starts and the audience aren't interested, and then I think he plays. I can't remember.
Doesn't he end up flying? When he ends up flying?
Yeah, so it's it might even be Rocket. I can't remember what he plays, but it's it's basically this gig where he does one gig and then suddenly he's mega famous in America, which obviously you need in a film or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of the comedians I know have ever had. You don't have that moment where it just slowly, one thing leads to another, and it's so you don't ever notice a change. Now, I do think kind of on the opposite side of the coin, you have someone when I would have been doing mostly comedy, would have been around the time when Michael McIntyre's Comedy Roadshow was on.
Yeah.
And that was maybe the last time that kind of happened to people. Because I think that, I remember Kevin Bridges did it, and then the next day his Edinburgh run had sold out.
Right,
and he kind of changed, and it happened to John Bishop as well. Their gig changed their life. But I don't think that can happen anymore. I don't think there's a TV show that does that, or there's...
No, I suppose Live at the Apollo was another one. Did that do that? Or in a way, I suppose...
I think it did. I think McIntyre maybe had that on one of his Live at the Apollos. But I think now stand-up is so prevalent on YouTube, Netflix. It's all on, Live at the Apollos on Comedy Central the whole time. They're repeating it. I think it was on last night on BBC Two. So there's not that kind of... water cooler moment where people sit around the television like they did then. Even like 2009, 2010, everything's really changed since then. So I don't think you'll ever have that kind of situation where people's careers go one way and then the other like that. And I think or James or or Romesh or Rob Beckett or Catherine Ryan, I think none of us had that. I think it all kind of felt like it was a smoother kind of thing that just happened, really.
And I think with music it's the same, isn't it? Because you don't have like the bands like talking about going back to the Blue Tones, but in that year, there were fewer channels. People were still watching Top of the Pops. It still existed. So as time goes on and there are more channels and people find their entertainment from more places, I suppose you don't really have that sort of universal moment anymore.
Totally. I think it used to be, I know the cliche of Top of the Pops is like how much it would change bands' careers. But now, I mean, I don't know, do people still watch music channel? I don't know, sound like an old person. Does MTV still exist? But, everyone's watching YouTube. So it's, it isn't, you don't have those moments which are career-defining change. You have things that change your career in the sense that The Last Leg changed my career, or Acast doing like the Netflix shows changed, really helped. But I don't think that's a one-day change. I think that's something that comes out and is a hit over a period of months or years.
Which is probably a more truer way, isn't it? It gives things a chance, like you said with The Last Leg, to sort of find their feet and start working, rather than just being straight away. Did you feel like, because you had like sort of your friendship group and the acts, like you said, like Acaster and Nick Helm, all of whom have been sort of very successful in their own way. Was there sort of a pressure when your friends were doing well, or were you just sort of pleased to be within a group of people that, you could sort of share it with, or,
It's weird, isn't it? I think it's lovely when your friends are doing really well if you're doing okay yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the same as like, it was great that I get to do stuff with James, or it's great that, I did some show. Joel had that show during lockdown. And I was Zoom guest on it. And you're like, this is great. I'm like chatting to Joel, and it's like, this is my job and this is his job, and I really like that. And that's great. And so all of that is like, I really enjoy that element of your peers being people that are people you see in your work. Do you know what I mean? Because also, you don't really see anyone in my life because of working or parenting. So it's quite nice to see them when I'm working, I saw Tom Allen on Saturday when we were both doing separate episodes of Celebrity Catchphrase. That's what's become of me. And
were you doing that via Zoom? Was that was that an actual studio thing, or was that via Zoom?
No audience though.
Okay.
So you're just in a kind of lock-up in the middle of Maidstone. It was great fun. But it was great because, like, finished, had a Wagamama, talked to Tom Allen. Lovely. Socially distanced, wasn't allowed in his dressing room. I had to stand in the hallway. That was the ruling. But
how bizarre.
I think it's a shame with Catchphrase that it's no longer Roy Walker, because that was the sort of glory years of that programme.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I don't think I can say I think
Stephen Mulhern doing it.
Yeah, Stephen Mulhern is very good.
Great.
And,
I think he's,
and to be honest, you put such an energy into a room which is just cameraman. I can't believe it. But I think Gemma Atkinson, who I was on with, said it's good, but it's not right. And you're like, oh yeah, that's not it. You're like, oh, is he allowed to do this? That thing when post strange or whatever.
Yeah.
Did the room go really serious then when she said that?
Yeah, people were like, come on, mate, copyright infringement.
Do they even have Mr. Chips anymore? Is Mr. Chips still a part of it?
Mr. Chips is still there, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's
He looks as good as he ever did, actually.
I think he devised it. I'm not entirely sure.
He did, yeah. He's on a cut,
yeah. But he should be. Because you started as a journalist, didn't you? Or certainly one of your previous jobs was journalism.
Yeah, it was one of my. I kind of wrote. I wanted to be a writer of some sort. That's how I ended up doing stand-up, and so I worked for like kids magazines for a year, like Dora the Explorer and Angelina Ballerina and stuff. And then I was like, what am I going to do with my life? Which is fine at the age of 22, 23 or whatever. And it's fine at any age really. And I kind of said, I kind of decided I'll kind of get a postgrad in journalism. I was never really passionate in any way about it.
Right. Yeah.
I just liked the idea of being able to write for a living.
Yeah.
And then I got a job as like an uploader at The Guardian, which I imagine doesn't exist anymore. But basically what it would involve is they make the stories ready for the newspaper, and then we'd get the text and we'd like put it and turn it into a web page.
Right. Okay.
It's very simple, like low level data input kind of job.
Right.
And then I kind of got a bit further up to like sub editor, but I was rubbish at it. And I was bad at it, and I was kind of unpassionate about it. But
perfect combination.
I was, it was great. It was a great job to have because it was freelance, and I could do it like 2 or 3 days a week, and so it really worked stand up in that way.
Right.
But I wasn't good enough at it to deserve my fee. I should really pay them back. Because they are in serious financial that I paid as well.
So they are.
That probably started with the money they wasted on my skills.
That's it. Did you come from like? So at what point did you go, right, I'm going to do stand up? From wanting to write, at what point did you go, and I'm going to write some stuff for myself, and then get up and perform it? Where did that did you do drama at school or? No,
I didn't do drama. I did a GCSE in drama, but that's like just because I wasn't very good at music or art, really. It's not because of I wanted to tread the boards.
It's kind of the easiest one to sort of blag, isn't it? Actually, because with art you actually have to draw, music you have to play, drama you have to sort of speak. Just
you have to read as much.
Yeah, exactly. Like, on a door. It was. I think I got a B. Yeah. So
that's all right. As far as it goes, I think I got a B as well. Actually,
I got an A. Yeah. I'm not going to boast about it, but
it's weird.
Look at you now.
It felt like quite an important thing whether you got an A or a B in GCSEs, but
it literally
5 Cs. That's all that mattered.
That's it. Yeah.
But it's never come up. Maybe it's just the jobs we're in, but that's never come up for me since. Do you know what I mean? I've never had to show my GCSEs or A levels.
No, I could have lied a lot more about. I don't think I ever even showed my degree. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I ever have had to produce any proof of what I've done with my life.
Yeah. So note to self: next time we'll just say we.
But even like going into the Guardian, how do you get a job in the Guardian? Because surely you've got a.
Because I got it because I was doing the postgrad at City University, which is in Islington or wherever it is, Clerkenwell, and someone I knew had got a job from the course at like the Guardian, and then I went in and had like an interview. But I cannot emphasize how low level that first job I got. Like there wasn't a skill level needed except kind of the normal ability of anyone our generation to use a computer is all needed.
Yeah.
Like it was literally like, so you take this block of text and copy and paste it and you put it in that box. And you do it that box and then you click live. And it was literally, and then there was one weekend when I was in charge of they were called the fronts, like the main news pages. So I was in the sports section and there was 2 big FA Cup upsets and they were those scores, and I got both the scores the wrong way around. So I was so bad that I got
Chelsea pretty bad.
Knocked out by Barnsley or whatever, and I got it as them they won.
That's like the one key thing you have to get right.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like you've got one job, right?
Yeah. Just copying numbers from one thing to another.
Yeah.
But so you always wanted to write. So did you have a sort of sense that you would write? When was it that it was comedy for you? Did you have like people you grew up?
I was always really interested in comedy. I think like when I was a kid, that was the best time to be into comedy. I mean, I don't really know what I'm talking about now because I don't really watch comedy now because obviously I don't really do it. You don't relax. I watch comedy. But like, it felt to me like the 90s was this kind of golden age of brilliant comedy. It felt like on BBC Two and Channel 4, every Friday there'd be like 3 great comedies. And I don't even remember any of them ever being bad. So you had The Fast Show, or you had Father Ted, or you had The Royal Family, or you had Harry Enfield, or you had Vic and Bob, or whatever, except fantasy football, etc., etc. And like, so I just think I was really into it. And I thought everyone was really into it, but I don't think they were. So I didn't really realise that it was weird that I was kind of obsessed with it. Like, I'm really fascinated by it and loved it. And I think that was just there dormant, but it wasn't like, I'm going to do this. really.
I guess you don't even consider at that point how you could even do it. It's just a thing you enjoy, but you don't think there's no sort of consideration of how that even happens, is there?
I also think if you realised how vast it is before you did it, you'd go, fuck that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember like doing, I did that first Laughing Horse competition in 2008.
Right, yeah.
It's like 600 people in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like, you get so far quite quickly on commitment alone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like there was,
it.
If I was gigging 4 or 5 nights a week or whatever, and so were a lot of the people that you just see again and again and again, and it kind of, all these people I'd end up just gigging with, and then you get your gigs through them, and it just became this kind of, like, community's the wrong word, but it just became like everyone, like, I suppose, everyone knew each other, and like, you turn up at the gigs and you know each person. So of those 600 people, maybe 50 people in London of our level were gigging every night, and you just see them again and again and again, and they're the people that get better much more quickly.
We noticed that with Mostly Comedy, because we started in 2008 with no real background in stand-up stuff. It was all, our stuff was all writing sitcom pilots and things like that. So we started, and the people like yourself who came in, everyone knew each other. There was a real core group of people that you could see, and you look at your gigs list, you had gigs every day. You were gigging all the time.
I remember particularly like James. I remember like early on looking at his gigs list, and it was just so packed.
Yeah,
he was just always turning up.
That was the thing. You almost felt like you had to. You almost felt like you had no option but to keep gigging, because it was almost like this thing of, if I'm going to do this, I've got to do it, because if I don't throw myself into this, then I don't really know where I'm going to kind of like then. But I think the difference is, like, there was this thing of like, oh, you've got to keep gigging, which is definitely true. But it was the people that got better were the people that used those gigs to improve. Yeah. And so there was this kind of myth that all you had to do was keep gigging, but you'd see people who were gigging as much as you were, but they just keep doing the same stuff that wasn't quite working, and you'd be like, it's not just about gigging, it's about each gig making it worth doing, so that the next one was better. But obviously, they were fluctuating all over the shop. It was an absolute carnage some nights and great some nights. You really don't know what you're doing, and that's kind of the best thing about it, is like, you have to learn it. Like, you can sing or you can't sing. And I know there's lots of, but like, someone could go on X Factor and smash the audition, having never performed before. But I just don't think you could do that with stand-up.
No, not at all.
Did you find it used to be easier, like, going out of London and gigging, or was the reaction, because...
Yeah, well, London, you'd get audiences outside of London. Do you know what I mean?
That's the main thing.
So you come to Hitchin, and it was that room above that pub, and it was what, 50 or 60 people?
50, I reckon 50, 60 getting there,
yeah. And, in London, you would never get that at an open mic night. No, do you know what I mean? No. You'd be gigging to 20 people, of which 10 were the other acts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but you needed both, because obviously you couldn't just travel around the country every night. You'd be, you'd be exhausted. So, I think the people that didn't leave London as much kind of developed skills for dealing with bad gigs, which are actually not the skills you want to develop, because they're not much use in the long run. The worst thing about the whole thing is that, like, the toughest gigs you'll do are when you start out, when you're worst and you've got the least ability to deal with them.
Yeah.
So it's really unfair in that sense. You should start with the nice big theatres, and then go back, and once you're good, you should be doing 20 people in a pub, because you've got the skills to deal with it.
Yeah. But do you find like there's more pressure when you go out now, being a name as such, like someone sort of known, or does that kind of give you a bit of you relax a little bit, because you're like, well, everyone knows who I am and what to expect. I can kind of sit back on it.
And do you think everyone knows who I am? Is that what the specific words?
Do you think? Are you thinking everyone knows who I am? Does it give you?
You don't want to think that. That's right.
No.
I think what happens is, you certainly at the start of writing this tour, I found, and I spoke to other comics who are who are writing tours at the same time, who are much more successful than me, and they had said the same thing, which is that they felt like you feel like when you first writing the tour, like you're the worst person on the bill, and everyone's like really disappointed.
Yeah.
And then but it is easier for you in that sense if you can go and do a new material night, and there's an element that people trust you when you go on because they're aware that you're a comedian.
Yeah.
So those new material nights are a bit easier, but it's like you'll go back to gigging and you'll go on a charity gig and everyone else is just like smashing it, and you've just come back to stand up and you're kind of flailing around and you're thinking, God, everyone must just think I'm a complete rubbish fraud. So you definitely get that. But once you've kind of got your tour going or whatever, your material going, it's definitely, I mean, playing to people that have paid to see you is obviously a hell of a lot easier because most of them should at least be aware who you are. There'll be some people that are brought along as a plus one, won't there? But generally, it should be like a home gig, right?
Well, that's the theory.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we've noticed...
Not always.
But we found like with mostly, the weird thing was when it first started, nobody knew anyone. But the audiences were kind of more ready and accepting to see new things and be a part of it. Now we're at a point where we book acts, you have to have a name because the room's bigger to draw an audience. But people are sort of less, I don't even mean forgiving, like with the lesser known acts. So it's a weird, in a weird way. I like it when it used to be a thing where it was just a room of people that were up for it. You know what I mean? And sort of
It changes it when you've got that higher sort of profile figure and then someone who isn't, because they are a lot of the time they're willing to accept what they know, but then what they don't know
they think they're booked for a tour show almost, don't they? They think they're booked
almost that feeling.
There is a thing, and it's like I think that is danger with like gig, because obviously we kind of get the stages of when you're putting a show together or why people are doing. If you see a name has come to your town, you don't know what work in and you're not. Work in progress doesn't, you're not like, oh, well, that means they're probably going to use notes and they're probably 3 months off doing the tour. People are just turning up at this gig going, oh, I've seen this person on Mock the Week, this will be good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you get different audiences in that sense, don't you?
Yeah. How did you feel? Because obviously then you went on to do like your sitcom. How was that to do? Was that intimidating as a thing? I mean, I know you co-wrote it, but also like your name is the thing.
I found that very stressful in the sense that it's quite dominating of your life. Right. And it's like it's a 6-month job to write and then record it. And like, it's like, I really, really enjoyed it. I'm really glad I did it. But it's by far the most kind of immersed I've ever been in something. Like there's a situation with stand-up where once you've got the show, you potter away getting the show for a year. Once you got the show, you don't even think about it till 5 to 8. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no, and you can just do it. Whereas that was like everything is like an intense process. So that was really intense. It was really enjoyable and satisfying, but like, it was quite dominating in the sense of, it just takes a lot out of you, particularly if you're doing like, anything else in those 6 months.
And I suppose because you're always working up to a recording, aren't you? You're always working up to an episode and then you're working up to the next one and you get one go at that.
Everything is part of the process. There's no bit where you're like, and now I can relax, except when it's a scene you're not in, when you're like, oh, thank God for that. I don't have to think about this. But like, even then you're watching it. But like, I think it's, I think one of the good things about doing stand-up is that you get to do lots of different things. And I'm quite easily bored. And I think, I think anything, if I just did one of the things that I do all the time, I wouldn't enjoy it. But I think I enjoy it because I do other things and then come back to it.
Was it perfect? Nice though? I mean, having people like Jack D and Jennifer Saunders in it, you've got like really key, I mean, obviously the people you know anyway, maybe now, but what was that like working alongside those people in a thing that was your name? Do you know what I mean? Did you feel a pressure?
It's intimidating in that sense. It's really nice though. Like Jack's such a nice bloke and he's obviously a kind of a really formative kind of performer for me and for almost all of my generation. And I'd say like, that is one of the really nice things is I think British comedy is so kind of small in the sense that, it's not a huge world that you kind of come across a lot of people if you just hang around for long enough, you kind of meet everyone. Do you know what I mean? And most people are really nice, and it's really nice. And of course they are, really, because most people that you meet in any job are quite nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's this kind of idea that like comedians are like, people often like, I think they like to mythologize that comedians are like different people, or like don't quite get. Like, no, I actually don't think that's true. I'd say when I worked in like a shop, there was as many people that you're like, not sure I want to hang out with that person, as there are in comedy. And that's just because like, but then I think people are in love with this kind of myth of the tears of a clown. I think this is this kind of, and also I think there's an element that comedians, because I don't think comedy's really taken as seriously as like, and obviously it's not because it's funny, but it's not taken as seriously as music or theatre or whatever. And so I think actually some comedians like that tears of a clown thing, because it plays on this kind of I am an artist kind of idea. But actually, I think most comedians are just quite nice people, And
it's the weird thing, comedy's quite throwaway, isn't it? I think when because I used to be in a band. When I was in a band, it was a lot more about I don't know, it's just a different thing. Music. So like you say, comedy's kind of taken less seriously because it is a little bit throwaway. And I suppose it's also key, particularly now with this whole funding thing.
And I think, but for that maybe, which I totally agree with on that, is kind of not seen in that way. But the negative of that is obviously that, it's not respected in the same way that, a great album is or whatever. But the positive is it means that there is a circuit which you don't get if you're a musician. If you're a musician trying to make it, you're either kind of successful or you're not selling any albums or whatever.
True,
but there's this circuit of comedians that are playing the clubs and doing, various writing or the odd corporate or whatever, who are making a really good living that maybe aren't on TV. And there's that kind of that level where it's a really successful but maybe not totally visible level, which you just don't get with any of the other kind of art forms.
You're right. And that's actually what a lot of the stuff at the moment with people with comedy and stand-up falling through that kind of hole of not being recognised
for the funding,
because people don't see that, and you don't see how close it all connects together, like from where we are doing like mostly comedy and Hitchin, but the people we have, it's such a small world, and they all connect to the bigger thing, or like sort of the TV stuff that's on TV or things like The Last Leg. But people don't see that connection, do they? A lot of the time they think, these guys are just doing stand up in a club. It's a very different world, but it's completely the same world.
It's exactly the same world, and everyone has come up for it, really, with a few exceptions. But like that's, and it's not like you've come up through it and then you're not going back to it. It's like every time you finish a tour, you go back and you do these gigs, and you're part of that world. And these gigs are totally necessary for the industry to exist. And it's a very worrying time for that kind of, for the industry. It really is. And there's lots of good stuff being done with like the Live Comedy Association and stuff to kind of try and save it, but
even still,
it is going to be. You do go when if you were to write a description of everything you don't want to happen to stop the spread of coronavirus, it would be a comedy gig. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's an absolute disaster area. Don't
laugh.
Laughing, tightly packed, in a small room, and you've got to squeeze past each other to get to the bar. And like everything is wrong with it for coronavirus. So it's like, I don't know when it's gonna be fine to do it again, but hopefully,
But and also,
I'm kind of burying my head in the sand in that sense, because
same here. It's like, this is a nice thing for us to do as like a in between, but I genuinely don't know how or when it's going to start again, or even people are going to be very cautious as well. It's so, and it's one of those things, because it's such a grassroots thing. I think comedy is one of it's sort of, because it's grassroots, it's good for like you say, the sort of community thing of it, but actually for protecting it through something like this, because you don't have like any real funding or anything like that to protect it. So it's such a weird one, really.
I think also, one of the great things about comedy is when you gig around the country, is there's people that are running clubs because they're passionate about it. It's not all businessmen who want to, because it's not, it's not this great money earner to run these clubs or whatever. No. So there are, clubs like the Comedy Store, the Glee, that are proper big business, but a lot of gigs you go to around the country are run by people that are passionate about comedy and love putting on comedy and, have turned what they're interested in into their livelihood or a good, auxiliary part of their livelihood.
Exactly.
You'll do theatres around the country or art centres around the country that are really good, great community-based, things, facilities for people in that community. And you'll go to Tewkesbury and there's this lovely theatre.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is so important to that community. And people who work in it are, you're volunteering these places are, really passionate about that being part of the community. And it's not about the O2 and it's not about the Apollo. It's about all of those places and all of these clubs that are people are passionate about, staying open or reopening, hopefully.
And actually what people don't realise is that a lot of those like regional theatres, I mean, we've both worked in shows that have toured regionally. I've been doing a lot of stage management on touring shows the last couple of years, and you realise that stand-up comedy is such a big part of their program, like huge part.
It's a really big thing, and it's really good for theatres because you can get it in and get it out in one night. There's no, it's so simple to put on. And obviously, that in a way is and there's no lead time. So you can go, I could do a tour show there in a month. It's not, you don't need, need some bottles of water or whatever. That's it, and a mic. Yeah. But so that's a real positive for comedy, is that as soon as it's allowed to come back,
true.
In theatre, there's all this lead time. How do you get the show together? Comedy could be back tomorrow. If they said you can gig from tomorrow, all the comedians would gig tomorrow. So that's a positive.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
But they're not going to say that, so that's a negative.
Yeah. Although I did see on Facebook today, someone was doing a gig, a comedy gig. It was Jenny Collier as a stand-up we've had at most of the time.
Yeah.
She was doing an actual gig in a place where they're all social distance, and apparently it was all legally done. But the audience were sat around sort of tables in their own bubbles, I suppose. And I was like, this is interesting. This must be
bad for reaction, though, isn't
it? It was outdoors as well, by the way. It wasn't indoor.
Yeah, I've been asked to do like these, various gigs in like car. There's a car one.
Yeah. But the thing is with those though, I kind of feel like it's a bit like stuff on Zoom and stuff online. It's like I think there'll be a point where people get tired of it and just want what they actually know back. Like it will get to a point. I feel like personally, it will get to a point where people go, "This is nice, but this is not what we'd want."
I mean, I haven't done any of them or been to any of them, so it's really difficult. And there is the ones in the gardens. I'm quite enjoying not gigging. On the one hand, like I've never done that really, so I'm enjoying not gigging, and also I kind of feel like I'm so rusty that I just can't throw myself in at the deep end with a gig that I don't really understand.
Exactly.
So I'm kind of reticent with that kind of stuff, which is
probably what you mean.
But also it's very hard to read the reaction, isn't it? Because in like a car thing, you're not going to get anything. In a Zoom thing where you've got an audience, it's just
or something. But
it's like being in the Flintstones or something. So it's so bizarre.
I don't even think I could remember my material now. It would take. I've spent so many days trying to at home work out how to do stand up again. I just can't face it, which is terrible.
I know what you mean though. It's almost like part of me doesn't really want to go back. I don't know what I mean by that really, but I mean obviously I want things to pick up again. But it's even like if you get used to not doing social things, it's quite, you get a bit, I don't know, like a hermit or something.
A bit of effort, doesn't it?
Relaxed into having my evenings back. I think that's going to be a real shock to my system when I have to work in the evenings again. Because every day I get to about 5 and I'm like, yes, I'm not doing anything tonight.
Yeah, exactly. But there's only so long you can sustain that, I suppose.
Exactly.
Do you? Just jumping to another thing. Are there any specific like favourite guests you've had on the last leg, or people that have really meant something to you?
The comics obviously are, they're the easiest guests in the sense of, they'll be funny. So you're always more nervous with the people that you don't know are going to be funny. Yeah. But obviously they're more rewarding in the sense of they can surprise you the most. Yeah. So
I remember Ed Miliband being great and really funny.
He was great. He was really good. He was really good. The Politicians is always interesting because obviously they're fascinating by dint of just being in that world. So they're really fun. I really like having the Politicians. I always get a bit nervous with the Americans because you're like, they must be thinking, what the fuck is this? So there's like, but I think people like that, like we had the Muppets on, like Kermit and Miss Piggy. Amazing. So that was really exciting. That's probably the most excited we've been. Yeah. We had to like build a different sofa and stuff. Yeah. That was really exciting.
Yeah.
And can you do you have to refer to, obviously when you're talking to them on the show, you're referring to them, but at any point can you kind of off camera talk to the people below, or are they just not?
There are no people below, Glyn.
Brought in behind the things, so they're like there's no like the audience can't see what's happening. Right. There's all these kind of rules. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't have it's the mystery, for want of a better word, because is maintained, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's lots of you can't do this, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Which is totally acceptable, obviously.
Yeah.
Worked for them for 40 years. It's not our turn to
exactly. Ruin it for the
kid inside.
Guys, I've got a few notes on your act, actually. I think it'd be really
could be slightly less green, I think. But I suppose, again, the kid inside must be like, I'm interviewing Kermit here. This is just mad. The very familiar voice, even if it's a different person doing it or whatever.
It's amazing. And it's, it's really exciting, obviously. I mean, that was quite a weird one in the sense of, obviously, the weirder thing is when you meet a celebrity and they look like they obviously look like the celebrity. Obviously, Kermit does because he's a puppet. In 40 years or whatever it is. But I'm trying to think. We had Al Gore. That was pretty mind-blowing.
Right, yeah.
Because he was promoting his follow-up to The Inconvenient Truth.
Right.
So we had Al Gore, and that was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But he's not. What I really like, actually, because me and Alex are sat on the sofa with them, and Adam's over there, is in the break, the advert breaks, you're stuck with them, so you're having a chat with them, and that's in a way the best bit.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
it's like going, oh yeah, so what are you up to in London or whatever? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Talking to Al Gore,
yeah. You're just talking to them.
Yeah,
you want a drink or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's kind of nice. I mean, we've had it. I mean, even just with Mostly Comedy and where we are now with acts, where we get high profile acts, and
the mention in Paul Daniels was a
random one. Completely random. But the nicest bit for us of the whole time he was there was just when we were recording the podcast interview, because we just sat and had a chat. And actually, you get the bit where they do their act, and you go, "That's nice to see," and it's nice there at Mostly Comedy. But actually, just chatting. And
talking about
it's
Whizbit.
Just cool. It's just you go, wow, we're talking about Whizbit. He's singing the Whizbit theme tune. Singing the Whizbit theme tune to us was the weirdest moment ever.
But, and also, he did a trick just for us, which I was really hoping he would do, because again, the kid inside.
It was Beck Hill, wasn't it? Beck Hill was there as well.
Yeah.
So it was the three of us all just watching him going, he's here in real life. It's very strange.
It's really exciting. Like that's the weird thing is like, actually, if you're honest, the people that are most exciting aren't the big stars. They're the people that were kind of on television when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, the fact of the matter is, you could pretend that you're more excited about Russell Crowe than when you met Jet from Gladiators, but you're not honest with yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like there's only one out of those two people. There's only one that you ask a selfie from.
Yeah. It's true. It's so true.
We should probably let you go soon.
We should have just realised the time. Yeah. But is there any more questions? We've got what's that? I'm just looking through.
This is the bit we'll cut.
Can you see? Yeah. Can you see any more questions on there? I'm just scrolling.
Not. What's the?
I should pay more attention to this.
It's difficult with those question things because you're trying to engage in the conversation.
Yeah, while looking.
I'd really be able to see you if you were like looking off to.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you're not being interesting. Just going, just have a look at this.
I'm talking,
just
but I'm
doing
not
my
listening.
tax return. Just in this.
Yeah, actually, I've just got a couple of emails I need to do. That's the problem with Zoom. It's like you used to do like interviews for like, you do like a briefing call for something or an interview, and you'd be like, "This is my chance to tidy up my office."
Yeah.
But now it's like you're on. Yeah. But it makes people far more engaged.
That's
it. Yeah.
Are there things you'd still like to do? I know it's such a pretty shit question, really, but is there something you haven't tried yet that you'd like to do in later life?
There's nothing like specifically that I go, I'd love to do a daytime quiz show or a chat show or
musical or something.
Or a radio show, or whatever. Like, but I just think, I remember Acaster saying to me that he likes to do one new thing a year.
Right, okay.
And I don't even know if he would remember saying that to me, whether he was like throwing it away or whether that's one of his tenets for life. But ever since I've since that throwaway comment by him that he probably doesn't even remember, I've tried to do that, like in the sense of keep doing what you really love doing, but each year try and challenge yourself with something different, so that it's that thing. So when one thing drops off, maybe another thing's growing, and so you're always staying on your toes. So
it's keeping your brain going as well, isn't it? Just having something different to consider rather than just the norm. I think.
Because it's very easy to get bored of stuff.
Yeah.
Quite a good question just came in now from Anne. Josh, would you be happy if your child wanted to pursue a career in comedy? No. If this was a film, it would cut to them now doing it and be like selling out the O2 or something.
I would be. I don't mind what she does. So it's not like. But if someone said to me, I heard like a comedian being interviewed, and they were like talking about like which like their children and like who would make the better stand-up, and I was like, bloody hell, I was just like, I'd never like want her to do that, but if she wanted to do it, great. But God, if someone said to me, what do you want your daughter to do? I'd say, something where it meant I didn't have to go to the Edinburgh Festival and watch.
That should just be a rule in life, really, shouldn't it? Just don't have to.
Imagine the stress of watching your own child do comedy. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
That would
the Edinburgh
just
Festival. God, yeah.
I find it tough enough, like when you watch a mate do comedy, but the thought of watching a child have a bad gig in a 50-seater in Edinburgh, no parent deserves that.
No, I think you're right. I know Jan Ravens was talking about it because her son's a comic as well. And she quite likes it, I think, because she sort of remains sort of connected with the new aspect of it. But yeah, God, it's also the least solid of all those sort of, like we're saying, the art forms, if it's an art form. So yeah, I don't know, yeah. Well, I suppose
if you wanted to do it, great, but I'm not going to lie to you. I would, I would hope that my, the stress I exude around the house would put her off.
Yeah, if nothing else. But
no.
Yeah. I guess we should stop there. But thanks so much, Josh.
Thanks for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for always sort of supporting Mostly Comedy. You always get the amount of times I've texted you asking you about gigs, and you always get back, and it's really appreciated, And
no worries. I always get back to sound too busy. I do apologise for that. But
I think it is like a template.
It's a great club, and it was always one of the best ones to play when we were like starting out, and it's a great place to try new stuff. So I look forward to it. It will return in its actual form, like eventually, all great comedy clubs. So lovely to speak to you both.
And you too, Josh. Yeah, you take care, and we'll see you soon, hopefully.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Thank
Josh.
you very much.
Thank you. So that was Josh Widdicombe right there. And as we said, lovely chat. In fact, all of our interviews that we've done in this way, and to be honest, in any which way we've done podcast interviews, have always been really nice chats. There's never really been an occasion where it's been difficult, which is interesting.
No, not at all. No, not at all. Over the years of talking to different people in different scenarios as well, because the first time we ever did, going right back to the very first time we interviewed at Mostly Comedy, we were in a kitchen at the venue we had at that time, which was a bar called The Croft.
We were literally just standing there, weren't we? It was not particularly
standing
big
very
kitchen.
Awkwardly amongst loads of kind of kitchen stuff because it was in a kitchen,
Yeah.
but it kind of
It was still, the kitchen was still technically open, because I remember the manager would come in every so often. Really not the ideal scenario.
I can really picture the mini deep fat fryer that they had in the corner.
Yes.
So and I can,
in fact, now, because it makes you feel more comfortable, you still have a mini deep fat fryer there every time we do an interview, don't you? And
I do. It kind of reminds me. It gets me in the mindset for the Mostly Comedy podcast. That's it. Yeah.
And at the end, you've got a lovely plate of onion rings, which is good. So it's all
Everyone
win-win.
wins.
Yeah, exactly. Every loser wins by Nick Berry.
Every loser wins. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is funny how we've gone from that to sort of like in little rooms back. I mean, like we did interviewing Catherine Ryan in a tiny room upstairs at the Market Theatre. Yeah. Do you remember? And John Thompson there as well.
Yeah.
And now we choose to do it separately.
We don't even meet in the same room. It's crazy. We've just everyone in their own houses, and they can all go back to. But it does make it weird, and it's something that Josh said about doing the last leg, where you go from when he's gone from being in a studio where he finishes the show and they all finish together and they can go off and have a drink and sort of
climb down from it.
Yeah, and it's sort of the same. Even doing something like this, where we're so used to doing mostly comedy and anything live, where you finish it and there is that climb down, and we quite often spend hours talking after mostly comedy and hours sort of having a drink or whatever, packing down and or anything we've done like that where you've but when you just sort of finish in this way where we're currently doing it on Zoom remotely, it is very odd, I find, when it all finishes and you just turn the computer off and go, well, that was done. That was that. I have no idea. There's no. I spend about the next 2 or 3 hours sometimes just kind of buzzing. My head's still going like, kind of excited by the.
Well, you've got that weird energy thing because anything when you do a show in this sort of thing, and because we are doing it with an audience there as well. And also, there's just even though we know all these people we're interviewing, I don't think we've interviewed anyone that we didn't meet beforehand. That's not everyone we have done. There's still that slight sort of moment of like tension and nervous excitement when they appear in the room, because it's just you just haven't spoken to them for a while. Suddenly you're thrown into the situation, and you're thinking on your feet. So you've got that weird, like when a show finishes and you've got all that energy, but you're literally just in a room in your house, make a cup of tea. It's a very bizarre situation. I mean, in the same way, I don't know if you're like this, you probably are, when I have a show, particularly with something like Mostly Comedy, where you've got to use a lot of sort of energy because you're setting up and you're doing the rest of it. I'm often like quite early on in the day, I'm wasting energy sort of thinking like I'm already doing the show. You like go, there's a show at the end of the day, there's the countdown to that point, and you go, no, why am I wasting this sort of energy now? I don't have to go on yet. It's such a weird thing. But
you do. The whole day becomes about that thing. I don't think even doing this, and this only happens. Today's one was done at sort of 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but normally they happen about 8 o'clock in the evening. But you do it changes the way that day goes. So that whole day becomes a lead up to that point. Whether you're like for me with these interviews, I might just go and quickly look up some of the stuff the person's been doing, or I might watch a video about something I haven't seen before. So I think it just reminds me of the stuff their history and their sort of catalogue of stuff. But there's always that your brain is always thinking about that thing. So then to get to the end of it and then just turn the computer off, it's a real sudden stop, isn't it? Like, it's like, no. Okay.
I know it's so bizarre, isn't it? And I think for you, there's like that last couple of hours, isn't there, before a thing where it's definitely the countdown to the thing, and you're aware of the things you've got to fit in that time. But I mean, even when we do Mostly, and afterwards, I'll tend to stay up and have a cup of tea or something at least, and with the dog or whatever. The dog doesn't have a cup of tea, just to clarify. He drinks coffee.
Very clever dog.
But my dad did tell me, I was going to say the other day, but he died about a year ago, so that was clearly not the case. That with his dog, he used to drink tea and have biscuits with it as well, apparently. Which is
really,
literally,
wow.
So that was interesting insight into my dad's.
That dog must have been wired all the time.
Exactly.
Hyper,
because they're already pretty hyper.
Bit of caffeine. I mean, a tea's still got caffeine, so a bit of caffeine and sugar. It's like he must have been like
bit of speed as well, just to keep him buzzing. There's an insight into my dad's pet keeping antics. But I don't even know what I was talking about now. There's that sort of time when you wind down, because you do have to go from being in a sort of gig scenario to afterwards. So it is strange. It's a strange one. But my God, it must be ramped up to 10 when you're doing something like the last leg. I hadn't even really considered that, obviously it's a live broadcast. So, it's not even like you're recording it. You're doing a live broadcast to millions of people from your house. Very strange.
So strange. It's so strange, isn't it? I mean, and this is even this, and there's only small numbers of people watching, but it still feels very strange when you're sat in your own house doing something with an audience. It's a weird, like, I'm nervous, but I'm also relaxed. I've never felt such a weird feel. It is an undescribable feeling because it's not a normal performance sensation where you.
Yeah, we've got used to it now. We're a bit more used to doing like the intro that we do, but it is a weird sort of thing. Suddenly you're on, aren't you? Even when I look through the video afterwards, you can see the difference. When we've started, there's a different sort of energy. But it's very strange. It's a bit like doing a show in Edinburgh, actually, in that sense that you go from 0 to 60 very quickly, don't you? You go from just getting in a room to going. But
and you have the lead up of being soaking wet and standing in the rain, or like that rushed kind of feeling you have where you feel a bit sweaty and a bit wet and a bit like
damp,
normally wet because it's normally. It was Edinburgh. So, but it is that, slightly damp and kind of, and then you have to kind of go, I'm doing a show, but I don't feel like I've had any time to prepare for it. But
and then I watch Michael Barrymore walk in, like with the balloon debate, and I couldn't even tell you. We're sat in a hot air balloon basket. Michael Barrymore walks past the basket, gives a wave, and I have to spend the whole show not able to tell you that in this tiny room with about 8 people in, one of them is Michael Barrymore.
Yes.
Because there's no universal expression you can pull while acting that says Barrymore's in the room. There isn't one.
Yeah, there's no Barrymore symbol, is there? That's the thing.
And that didn't happen today. But anyway, it's lovely to hear, just to speak to Josh, have a like we said before we start recording this, a bit of a catch up, really. Such a nice guy, and whether it felt to him or not, such a rapid climb from, being like everyone else to being probably the most sort of mainstream familiar of that sort of group of acts that started out.
The dead people that we had mostly, and I think that was it. We saw that. That's the journey we saw. We know obviously they have a different internal experience of their own life, but from where we watched, from mostly to it suddenly being mainstream. And I told us, me and David were talking earlier, and I said that for me it was when I was somewhere completely away from mostly comedy and everything else, and I was with a family do, and someone said they'd been watching some guy on TV that they really loved, and they said Josh Widdicombe, and I was like, how do you know about Josh Widdicombe? And I was like, oh my god, yeah, of course, because he's mainstream. People would have seen him wherever they are in the country, and when you go from that, you suddenly go, wow, yeah, he's done well. He's done well.
Yeah. And so have many of his friends as well that we had. People like James Acaster and that, Nick Helm, all of them, Nish. They've had really extraordinary. I mean, and James is another extraordinary actor, isn't he? But it's really nice to see, and it's nice when they're nice people. It's nice to be a part of that and still feel a part of that as well.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. There are plenty of other ones to listen to with, in fact, people we've just mentioned, Nish Kumar, James Acaster, Nick Helm. They're all on there somewhere.
And actually, what's interesting about those is they all happen at different points in their careers. So to hear where they are at that moment, it's quite it's quite interesting, isn't it? When you think about where they are now, because some of them are a few years ago. So it's...
like James Acaster, it was he was very sort of known in Edinburgh and been nominated, but he wasn't yet the the Netflix series big draw that he is now. While always being very special though. So it is interesting to hear those things, I think.
Yes.
And also our careers. You listen to us in those lowly days when we were doing stuff. And we're still doing that stuff.
Yeah, we don't. We're the constant throughout, for good or bad.
Control.
For good or bad, we don't really change. I mean, I think my voice has got huskier and I've got greyer, although you can't see that on this. But
although you were grey already, so it's more that you've accepted the grey. I mean, I don't know if you've
true. It's true, although you've just revealed a massive secret that I've kept hidden for my whole life.
It's all right. I'm a homosexual. There we go. It's fine. It's covered it. I maximise my own. I'm gay. It's fine. They'll forget about the grey hair now because I've covered it with my big shocking news. But that was, and I'm not even gonna discredit it. I'm gay.
No, there we go.
I'm not gay. Yeah, I'm gay and proud, as you can tell by my my rainbow coloured
T-shirt.
Something rainbow coloured when it's lots of colours.
Rainbow coloured. I think you can.
But is rainbow a colour? Surely rainbow is
I would say rainbow is a colour because it's a term for all the colours. Therefore, it's a colour. I don't know.
Or if you mix them all together, you get brown. Maybe that's, I don't know. But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to this.
We got there. We're at the end.
You're nearly free, but do listen to other episodes. And also support. Say when Josh goes back out on his tour, go and see him. Because you'll see, an excellent comic who's also a very, 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 very nice guy. Don't know why I said it like that. Weird. And also Dora the Explorer fans, you can check in on that as well. But thank you for listening, and we'll see you again soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.